Hungarians taking a stand against the Soviet Union's communist control and its impact in history. On the 23rd of October, Hungarian citizens in Budapest, Hungary, initiated a protest which turned into a rebellion, taking a stand against the Soviet Union's communist forces. Although the citizens were unsuccessful and Hungary was reoccupied by the Soviet Union on November 4, 1956, the rebellion stood as an example of Soviet brutality in the revolutions of 1989, which led to the fall of the Soviet Union. The Great Depression was affecting countries all over the world in the 1930s. The country of Hungary needed to trade with Germany in order to pull itself out the Great Depression. Hungary had a long history of friendship with Germany, but enmity with the Soviet Union. Therefore, Hungary joined the Axis powers in 1940. In the agreement negotiated with Germany, Hungary had to help Germany wage war against the Soviet Union. However, Hungary's regent, Miklos Horthy, wanted to keep Hungary out the war. Hungary was willing to switch sides if the Allies could promise protection from Germany and the Soviet Union. Ergo, Hungary secretly engaged in an armistice with the United States and the United Kingdom. When Hitler found out, he was furious, and he forced German forces to occupy Hungary. This occupation continued to be carried out until Soviet forces decided to overthrow German rule. Hungary went under Soviet control and declared war on Germany in 1944. By 1948, Hungary became communist and Stalin ran the country, although the population resented his policies. Soon after World War II, the Cold War began between the Soviet Union and the United States. The Soviets distrusted the West, and the United States feared communist control. In order to protect countries from possible attacks from the Soviet Union, the United States created NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, in 1949. NATO had 12 members, including France, Italy, and Britain. In response to NATO, the Soviet Union created the Warsaw Pact in 1955. The Pact's members included communist European nations like Hungary. The Soviets claimed that the Warsaw Pact was made to protect its members, like NATO, but instead it was used to control the armies of their members. Hungarians, however, had enough with Soviet rule. Since Stalin came and created a puppet government in Hungary in 1945, Soviet propaganda was everywhere. Hungarian protest groups emerged, demanding democracy. Nikita Khrushchev, who took over as the leader of the Soviets after Stalin died in 1953, denounced Stalin's regime. He set forth de-Stalinization, in which he would eliminate traces of Stalin's policies in communist countries. Although de-Stalinization led to the resignation of the communist Hungarian leader Rákosi in July 1956, the Hungarian people were still dissatisfied. They were tired of collective agriculture, which led to food shortages. The Russians had created emphasis on heavy industry, which led to shortages in consumer goods. The Soviets reduced the influence of the Catholic Church in Hungary, and the leader of the Catholic Church was imprisoned by the Communist Party. There were even secret police called AVO persecuting churchgoers and non-communists. There was restriction on intellectual activities and control over the Hungary school's curriculum. The Soviets were extracting Hungarian wealth to enrich Russia. Finally, on October 23, 1956, university students and workers held a demonstration in Budapest, the Hungarian capital. The protesters entered the parliament building in an attempt to broadcast their demands on the radio. Their efforts, however, were ineffective, and their peaceful protest turned into a rebellion. The Hungarians burned portraits of Stalin and Rákosi. They also pulled down Stalin statues. The 50,000 Hungarians were fired upon by the state security police. The news of the event quickly spread and caused disorder throughout the capital. Communist leaders were hung from trees. Secret police officers were attacked. Khrushchev wanted to make things more calm, so he withdrew Soviet troops from Hungary. Imre Nagy became prime minister of the new government. He declared that Hungary would leave the Warsaw Pact, be a neutral country, and would have democratic elections. However, Khrushchev would not accept their independence and wanted revenge. On November 4th, Khrushchev sent 2,000 tanks and 60,000 troops into Hungary to attack Budapest. Thousands of Hungarians were killed, and over 200,000 sought political asylum in the West. On November 22nd, Nagy was arrested after leaving the Yugoslav embassy and was charged with treason. He was secretly tried, found guilty, and sentenced to death by hanging in 1958. Over the next 5 years, thousands of people who supported Nagy were either imprisoned or killed. János Kadar became the ruler of the Hungarian Socialist Workers' Party. Although the Hungarian stand against the Soviets was unsuccessful, it served as a prequel to the revolution of 1989. The crisis exposed the brutality of Moscow's methods and served as the causes of the determination for independence in the region. In 1989, a full-blown revolution began in Poland and continued in Hungary, East Germany, Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, and Romania. By 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed, and Hungary gained its independence.